We have breaking news. WNBA star Brittney Griner has pleaded guilty to bringing hashish oil into Russia, telling the judge that she did so inadvertently and without intent while asking the court for mercy. However, even with a guilty plea in Russian criminal courts, the judge will continue to read the full case file into the record, and it could still go on for weeks or months.
There's so much news going on and so much craziness. Leftists are out of control. But I want to talk about Brittney Griner. Now, I know for a fact y'all don't know who Brittney Griner is because she's a women's basketball player. And I don't think nobody watched women's basketball. They can't even dunk. However, she's making the news because she ended up going to jail out there in Russia. Why is she in jail, Mr. Tatum? Is it because she's black? Is it because she's a woman? Is it because she's a part of the LGBTQ? And Russia wants to punish her and have her as a political prisoner? No. It's because she committed a crime. She tried to smuggle illegal drugs into Russia, i.e. I think it was a CBD, not CBD. It was some marijuana pen or something like that she smuggled in. Did she not know the laws of the land? Yes, of course she did. She traveled to Russia many times. I believe she played on a sports team there in the offseason. So she's been there 100 times. And obviously I'm exaggerating the number, but she's been there many times, enough to know better. But you know what? When you live in a place or in a reality where you do not have to be held accountable for anything, then of course you think you can smuggle drugs into somebody else's country. And if you ever get caught, you think somebody's supposed to bail you out, because you have never taken responsibility for your own actions. Now, of course, her coach came out, and I'm not going to say her coach's name because she's completely irrelevant, just as much as your girl Brittney Griner is irrelevant. Her coach comes out and makes the most ignorant statement I've ever heard in my life. She said, well, let me say her first statement was smart. The rest of her statements were ignorant. She said if this was LeBron James, they would have gotten him out of there a long time ago. Duh. You're talking about one of the greatest basketball players to ever play. Of course they would get him out of there. Why, Mr. Tatum? Because half of America would be protesting right now, and they would be talking about it on television all day long around almost every sports lover's dining room table. They're going to be talking about LeBron James. How can the NBA continue without LeBron James? There's a difference. Brittney Griner, nobody knows who you are. The only reason people know anything about you now is because they're talking about it on the news and the president of the United States is involved. Of course, LeBron James will be out at this point. But then her coach goes on to say that it's because of her being black. After saying LeBron would have been out, I guess her coach don't know LeBron James is black. But after she said LeBron James would have been out a long time ago, she then pulled a race card and say they don't care because she's black, because she's a woman, and she's a part of the LGBTQ. Let me tell you the truth of the matter. If Donald Trump was in office, she'll be back. Why, Mr. Tatum? Because Russia respected President Trump. Nobody respects Joe Biden. He's literally limping around everywhere, and his wife has to tell him what he should be saying and what he shouldn't say. He's not running or thinking for himself at all. So Russia don't have any respect for him. And then we just so happen to be in a conflict with Russia via Ukraine. And you think they're going to let her out just because we feel like it? Do us a favor? No, we have orchestrated sanctions against Russia. We've attacked Russia for what they did in Ukraine. You think they're going to give an American back who actually violated the law? Now, according to officials there in Russia, she has the right to an appeal. But she has to sit in jail, just like every other person, and sit in jail until it's her time to be convicted, or whatever they call it out there in Russia, and then she has a right to an appeal. But let me add this too, because another thing people may not know, because Brittney Griner is relevant, that she is one of the biggest anti-American voices in women's basketball. Sitting in the locker room, not coming out, not standing for the flag. All she can do is talk about how oppressed she is in America, how America is against black and brown bodies. And now you're begging and pleading that the white man take you back. Please bring me back to safety. I have so much value to add to this country. Oh yeah. Now you feel the pain. Now you feel the reality of the fact that you should have been appreciating your country and you should act with integrity, and maybe you wouldn't find yourself in another foreign country detained. I just thought I'd throw that out there. I want to find her quote because she wrote a quote to Putin. Let me see. White House confirms Wednesday. No, this is not the quote. She wrote a quote to Trump. Did I say Putin? She wrote a quote to Trump and pleading with him. In the quote, she says, "Please do all you can to bring us home. I voted for you for the first time in 2020, and I vote for you. I vote for you in 2020, and I voted for the first time in 2020, and I voted for you. I believe in you. I still have so much good to do with my freedom. Help me." This letter she wrote to the White House. I said Trump. I meant Biden. Trump is on my mind right now because he would have actually got her out. She writes a letter to him. Of course, Biden is probably not going to do anything. Let's move on to another topic. And this is just a quick insert because I mentioned this yesterday on my show about Uvalde and about a report from the investigation that revealed that there was an officer that saw the suspect and had to ask or decided that he would ask a supervisor to engage the suspect. After reading the full, I didn't read it. It was 27 pages. I read 16 of the 27 pages. I still got a few more pages to read. But after going through the investigatory report, it's cut and dry. According to the report, he was over 140 yards away from the shooter when he asked for a supervisor to give him permission to shoot the guy going into the school. Now, there's no need for a supervisor to be requested to shoot somebody. But, and who knows, I think there could be a caveat here. There should not be a reference point. If there is a person deemed to be a danger to themselves or others, or not themselves or others, but they're a danger to the public, serious bodily injury or death is afoot, then you can use deadly force against that person acting alone as an officer with 100% discretion. But the way the media reports it, it makes it seem like he was point blank with the guy and they were looking each other in the eyes and singing to each other, and he just decided he didn't want to shoot the guy because he was afraid. 140 yards away from somebody is a very, very long distance. If you've ever seen a football field is 100 yards. Now, just think about being a football field and a half away from somebody and thinking that you could take an accurate shot. According to the report, the officer made mention that he didn't believe that he could have made an accurate shot without the bullets flying and hitting kids. In a perfect world, he would have taken a chance. He would have been a hero, dome shot the kid from 140 yards away, and we would not be talking about this anymore. Or we wouldn't have anything to talk about because he wouldn't have killed any of these children. So I just wanted to make an update because I spoke about it yesterday. Also, I read a lot of the report in it, and it's very convoluted and complicated. And I really, really hate that the media took the lead on the narrative in Uvalde because it creates so much more confusion than what it should have created. There were clear mistakes made, and there was things that could have been done differently. And it's very easy to Monday morning quarterback. And as a police officer, a former police officer, I know that it's very easy to Monday morning quarterback, and I know that that's not the proper approach. There's all kind of woulda, coulda, shouldas in the situation in Uvalde after reading the investigation. And what I'm left with is that there were mistakes that were made. Unfortunately, it cost the lives of young children and teachers. The mistakes weren't just on the police officers. If you look at the report, the school left their kids completely wide open and susceptible to being murdered by not locking the doors. But the police officers didn't respond properly anyway. The initial officers didn't respond properly either. But it's, you know, I would love to say if I was there, I would have done X, Y, Z. Everybody in America is going to judge these officers, and it is what it is. But I wish that people would have understand or have the understanding that if you were there, would you have made a different decision if you were actually taking shots from somebody? if you actually was in the heat of the moment and shots are being fired and people are dying and you freeze up. Would you freeze or would you not? You wouldn't know until you were in a position like that. And I'm not making an excuse, but when it comes to someone saying that they need to be held accountable, people are going to be held accountable to what's reasonable, not what somebody feels. You listen to the Alpha Tatum Show. Hold the phone. I'll be back after the break.